buy quality beef on different budgets. I'm here with Margaret from Flying Bee Bar Ranch, and she's going to walk us through the cow and tell us all about it.
The first thing I would say, though,
Yes,
Lindsay.
yes,
Sorry. The first thing I would say is to make sure that you know what it is you're purchasing. Mm-hmm. Grass-fed, grass-finished, no antibiotics, no hormones, no steroids. You want to know they let a cow's life out. They're not in a pen. No grains or corn. You know, that's going to be your highest quality beef as far as your body and how it's going to function. But everybody seems to have different budgets. And, you know, with people eating a lot more red meat these days, it's good to know what other cuts you can purchase and still stick with your eating regimen.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people out there too sometimes get a little bit nervous or, you know, for doing something other than ground beef, right? But they also want to be creative with it. And so I try my best with different recipes, but perhaps maybe it's all about different cuts and then maybe little tips on ways that we can prepare it to make it a little bit either, you know, more tender or flavorful or,
Certainly.
I mean, I guess the flavor also does come from where you're buying your meat from.
It does. On a grass-fed, grass-finished animal, it does tend to have the flavor of the region it's in and what they're eating. For us personally, our animals were really lucky. The grasses in the creek bottom here and the pastures and our, I don't know, it makes a sweet taste to our beef. It's very good.
Yes, it's really delightful. Some of the tastiest meat I've had. It's amazing. So, all right, here we go. We're going to go through the 3 different buckets of budgets, right? Let's start at the lowest.
Okay. And so you can definitely do grass-fed, grass-finished on a budget.
Okay.
I would say ground beef obviously is a good go-to. There's lesser purchased cuts like flat iron steaks, Denver steaks, sirloin tip steaks, sirloin steaks. Those are all a little more budget friendly. They've got great marbling if you're looking for fat. A lot of people want to add that fat into their diet because the fat is on a grass-fed, grass-finished animal. It's going to be more like a salmon, higher in your omegas and your CLA and your vitamins and immunity fighting things.
So really good, micronutrient dense for you, the consumer. So when you eat it, it is just healthier than conventionally raised beef. So ground beef, where does it come from on the animal?
So it comes from all over.
Okay.
Because you can see on the animal, there's all these different areas, the chuck, which, you know, most people think chuck roast, the first thing, but that's actually where your flat irons, your Denver steak, Terrace Major, chuck eye, chuck steaks, all of that comes from the chuck. It's highly marbled. They're not super expensive steaks. That would be a good place to start.
Cool. So these are your kind of like budget friendlies within the chuck.
Yeah, and if you're looking for something leaner, if you're not as, you know, into getting the fat back here on the round, that's going to be leaner cuts back there. Animal uses that muscle a lot. It's, you know, it's lean. But there's good roast, your top round, your bottom round, your eye of round. If you're into the slow cooking, that's the best spot. And
slow cooking
for your buck too.
Yeah, and slow cooking really helps tenderize. I've been looking a lot actually at the round roast and just seeing like different recipes online with, you know, you can actually like tenderize it and then roll it up with maybe there's like cheese and more fats, right? So you can actually play with it so it's not such a super heavy fatty meal, but you start with your lean meats and then you can sort of add like different like dairy fats and different animal fats.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And put your vegetables in there too. Yeah.
So if we're looking at something like, you know, what's the price range, I guess, from if you were to buy anywhere from within the chuck and then the round?
On the lower end, like for the sirloin and the flat irons, those are those are more like $12.99 for 1 pound, maybe 24, that type of thing. You've got stew meat that's in that lower budget area that's divine, very good. We do also like a keto blend that we put ground beef with heart and liver in it. That's a lot of nutrition in 1 pound packages there.
For sure.
So your lower end is going to be $10 to $15 a pound.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. We like that.
Yeah.
So moving on to the
you
second
can
tier.
do it.
Oh, yes, you can do it. Exactly. And side note, I did a little experiment. Not sure if you guys saw on my Instagram recently too, of actually what you're getting take home final product after you cook. Like gold standard, like you guys is regenerative, 100% grass-fed, grass-finished, compared to what you would buy at, the grocery store from like Walmart and even Sprouts. The take-home in ounces of what you are actually like eating is massively different than from what you're getting from a regenerative farm. Almost like a 40% like crazy decrease from as soon as you take it off of the shelf in the grocery store as compared to regenerative. So there's also that. So you are definitely, just by budget friendly, not only with what steak you choose, but also by the source too as well. So
keep that in mind.
Yes, so there's that. So second tier, we're moving on.
Yeah, so the second tier, I would say, has a lot of items that people aren't as used to cooking, and they're fabulous. Brisket is on the list. A lot of people either love brisket or they get frustrated because they don't want to dry it out. You can do it beautifully in an oven or a smoker. So you've got brisket, you've got like the tri-tip steak, which a lot of my California buyers all want the tri-tip.
Well, I love the tri-tip over there in Cali.
A hanger steak, a flank steak, what else? Skirt steak, yeah, that's another good one. And those, they're a pound to 2 pounds a piece, so it's a good, nice piece of meat, highly marbled. So,
and so that's the mid-range, and
ribs. If you like short ribs, that kind of thing is in there, or the shanks, which ossobuco, that's a slow cooker type of thing too. So
I love the ossobuco. That is definitely something that I think is underrated. When you do that slow cook, and it's just like, I don't know. It's
and that would be the beef shank.
The beef shank, yeah.
Which is a mid-priced cut.
So then what is the range of that price point in pounds?
Gosh, I might have to look to Will real quick on that one. What would you say, 18 to 24 a pound? Yeah.
18 to 24 a pound. Okay, great. All right, so we did the most budget friendly.
Correct.
Then we did the middle range.
Yep.
Now we're looking for, you want to treat yourself, or maybe you want to treat yourself every day. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
But, a little bit of a higher price point.
Yeah.
So what steaks will you find there?
Those are your ribeyes, which are boneless. Your rib steak, which is a bone-in ribeye. That's all, in this area. You've got the New Yorks, the New York strips. You've got T-bones. You got the New York on one side and a little tenderloin on the other. You've got your tenderloin fillets, which is the priciest steak on the entire animal.
And that would be right up top.
Yeah, tenderloin's along up here. You've got, let's see, what else? Tomahawk steaks. You've got, I said T-bones, tomahawks. We do also, I should throw this into the middle group, picanha.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I just made that the
So
other day.
many people love that, And culotte, that's another name for it.
Okay.
But the picanha can get thrown in there too. But I'm thinking, what other...
Do you slow roast the picanha? Because I did that the other day too, and it was good. And I was like, I've never cooked a picanha, but it looks like I need to slow roast it.
I think you can put it
Yeah.
on the smoker and the grill. Would you say? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, great.
With the advent of the smoker, you can do so many things.
Yeah.
People put roasts on smokers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like I need to get a smoker. All right. So we went through the different sort of, how to buy your meat per your budget. And now from a sustainability perspective, what would you say is the most sustainable? Does it match up with, on the lower end of like the price?
What do you mean by sustainable?
So
Like them being able to sustain purchasing like this,
or like if in demand, like the demand of it. So if people want to just keep buying ribeyes, is that sustainable from an entire like operation perspective, or what is the most sustainable cut of meat in quantity?
that's a different question.
Sure.
Because there's only so many ribeyes or rib steaks or New York strips or tenderloins on the animal. So it becomes difficult because then you have the whole rest of the animal that needs to be, consumed.
Right.
So it is sustainable if you want to keep ordering that way, but I think it would be more adventurous and more fun to
Yeah.
try some of these other cuts.
Right.
And you might be surprised.
Yeah. And you guys do offer that too in
Oh.
a quarter cow, eighth of cow. Do you guys do an eighth of cow, or is it just
We-
start at quarter?
We do a box called a Holy Cow box.
Ah, I see.
And it's a nice way to start because it's got two of each thing, like two ribeyes, two tenderloins, two New Yorks, two flat irons, and the list goes on. It's good for one or two people, really. A quarter is the next jump up. It's a quarter of the beef. And it's a quarter of everything that is on the animal. It's not like the front half or the back half. So you're getting some of everything. And it's a standard cut. But then when you move into purchasing larger quantities, half of a beef or a whole beef, options open up. You can customize how you want it cut. If you're not a roast person, you can, if it's a good area to cut steaks in, like on the chuck, if you don't want roast, you can make that into flat iron steaks, Denver steaks, terrace major, chuck eye. There's lots of things. There's a ranch steak that comes from the arm area. It's right just a little below the chuck.
Oh, interesting.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
But you have those options. How thick you want your steaks. If it's some cut you think you're not going to use, you can grind it if you want more burger.
Right. Okay, cool. So from a sustainability perspective too, then, maybe just sort of almost picking, different cuts and using whole animal instead of just like, okay, give me like 30 ribeyes and put it in my cart.
But you can do that.
Sure.
We do find, we have plenty of ways to sell those other cuts, and they go into the store and they get sold. So, but if that's what somebody wants to do, by all means, they can.
Sure. Yeah, and then, a great way to also not only, tap into or explore with creativity is to purchase something like a Holy Cow box, or, then you move up from there, quarter cow, half cow, and whatnot. You can get more creative with different cuts. You can learn about different cuts,
right.
And then also it could also help benefit your wallet, not just purchasing, the highest priced item, but also just a variety of these things.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, cool. So what's your favorite cut?
I'm a filet person. I like tenderloin filet.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, my second favorite thing with our beef, not all beef, our beef is our ground hamburger. It's got just such a great flavor.
Yeah. Is that the brisket one or just like ground?
The brisket one is good too, but
Okay.
just the regular ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And you guys have a ground one. Is that the keto one with the heart and liver in it then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's good. And I've tried a lot of different ground beefs with different organs in there. And
Mixed
sometimes
in.
it's like too heavy on the liver flavor or whatnot. So you guys have a really nice balance of it.
Yeah, we worked it out. We
Yeah.
were going 50-50 and it was a little too much. So we've backed it off. We're about 60. We're about 35% is the heart and the liver mixed in with ground beef.
65-35 is kind of what the
about 65-35
consensus is. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, so you get a nice, you get a nice amount of macro and micronutrients. I'm a big fan of eating nose to tail and organs for just optimal nutrition. So awesome, cool. Well, Margaret from Flying Bee Bar Ranch, and thank you so much
been
for
a pleasure.
Yeah, I know. Thanks for sharing with us and just kind of giving us a little education on the cow and where to find each one.
Yeah. And it's my cell phone and my email that's on our website. I welcome any calls or emails. I'm pretty good at getting back to them pretty quick.
So I'll put some information down below on how you can find them, how you can call, text Margaret maybe. Don't do it on the weekends, be nice. And also too, I think you guys offer on your website like how to cook the beef, the proper temperatures, like recipes. So there's a bunch of different resources that people can go to too as well to.
Absolutely. Anybody that's going to be buying from us, we want to make sure that they absolutely love it, which also involves how to cook it. Because our beef
This is true.
definitely acts like grass-fed, grass-finished beef. It gets there quick, 2/3 to 3/4 of the time, because the very healthy fat on these animals melts at a lower temperature. So, you want to dial that in.
Yeah. In other words, don't mess it up at home. These people do such good work, and for months, for years, I'm not even sure the whole process in its entirety just to get this beautiful, these beautiful cuts of meat to your home. So just pay attention, be intentional, and go ahead and check them out so that you can take these steps to probably make the best tasting steak ever at home.
I would like to just say that we do ship nationwide, lower 48, over $199. It's free shipping.
Oh, that's great.
Wherever you are.
Yeah. Cool.
If you're under $199, it's $29.99 for shipping. So
great. Cool.
It goes on dry ice and in a, insulated box by either UPS or FedEx.
Right, delivered right to your doorstep. My life changed forever once my first meat box delivery. So this will change yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you guys.